Dear students, welcome for the lecture series on tourism. Today we are concentrating on the topic tourism industry management. The topic can be divided into following modules: problems of tourism industry, problems of tourists, problems of the local residents, problems of local administration, and India Tourism Development Corporation. Let us start with the problems of tourism industry. Indian tourism industry has still not developed to its full potential. It is facing many serious problems, both man-made and natural, like inadequate infrastructural facilities, lack of transport facilities, lack of availability of skilled labor, and on the natural fronts are flood, drought and other natural calamities. The issues arising from the growth of development of tourism create the disparities in tourism development on social, economic and environmental fronts. The issues involving in tourism development are international, national, regional and local in nature and generally raise questions regarding the ethics of tourism development. Someone who travels particularly to the strange location find an unfamiliar environment not only geographically but also socially and culturally. The travelers face problems for which a solution must be found if the trip is to be made fully enjoyable and rewarding. Local people at tourist destinations also face some serious problems due to mass movement of tourists, while administration has to satisfy the needs of tourists and the local people. Next is problems of tourists. India is essentially an important destination in the world map of tourism, attracting about 1% of tourist traffic. India is making efforts to make the tourism industry more focused, lucrative and fast growing. Hence, the problems within the tourism industry are interwoven and need a complete solution immediately. There are many types of problems that a domestic tourist faces when he reaches at the pilgrimage centers or places which are important from cultural point of view. Inadequate accommodation facilities, unhygienic food, lack of safety measures, exploitation of innocent pilgrims, corruption inside the pilgrimage center and lack of discipline during festivals are often seen and observed by the tourists. Tourism is a composite of activities, services and other industries that involves transportation, accommodation, eating and drinking establishments, shops, entertainment activity, facilities and other hospitality services available for individuals or groups that are travelling away from home. All such activities are not sufficiently integrated by the tourism industry in India, as there are the problems of coordination of various departments responsible for the growth of tourism. Lack of adequate infrastructural facilities is one of the important areas in the development of tourism, especially in the areas of religious and cultural significance. There is no coordination between Air India, Indian Railways and various state transport agencies. Therefore, the precious time of tourists is wasted in making arrangements and schedules to different places of tourist importance. Regarding rail, air booking and cancellation, the existing system is considered very unsystematic, time consuming. Long queues are seen both at air bookings and railway bookings, and the similar type of problems are seen at cancellation points. Tourists also face problems with regard to parking their vehicles. Local transportation, problems of untrained guides, problems of language, sexual harassment towards women tourists, beggary problems, medical problems and many more needs immediate attention by the government agencies. Visa problems and currency conversion are other major problems the foreign tourists generally face. Foreign tourists are also facing certain problems with regards to visa. As such, offices are situated in Delhi, Mumbai. Therefore, tourists have to visit Delhi or Mumbai in order to get their visas renewed to continue their journey. Poor publicity about various religious and cultural places is also responsible for the underdevelopment of tourism in the state. Government and private entrepreneurs should join hands in process of informing tourists about places scattered all over the country. A tourist can only plan his tour if all the suitable information like geographical, historical, cultural, transportation, accommodation and other relevant information is easily available. The information can be made available to a tourist by simply attractive and comprehensive methods supported by maps and illustrations, which needs skilled cartographic work. Geographic cartography along with commercial art can play an important contribution to make it more clear and attractive. Preparation of maps with routeways punctuate with pictorial representation of places to the tourist interest is the precondition for the development of the tourism industry. Another serious problem is that of pollution, especially in the water bodies near tourist destinations. Dirty toilets are the major problems at tourist destinations. It is high time that the local bodies take this issue seriously. Tipping is another problem. Despite huge signboards in the hotels, the practice has continued to this day. At times, foreign visitors who obey the sign saying "No tipping please" is placed in every embarrassing situations. We should learn from Japan, where there is neither a service charge nor tipping. In USA, there are no service charges but tips only. The service charge cum tipping is disliked by most of the visitors. Tourists are irritated on account of unwanted paperwork, time-wasting complaints of rules and regulations. Customs, immigration are some of the major problems faced by the visitors. It is therefore necessary that the Immigration and Customs Department should operate the operations by the people who are thoroughly trained in public relations and who are preferably multilingual. Problem of foreign language and regional languages is also important. Most of the tour operators are performing their tours which provide travel guides without the adequate knowledge of foreign language and regional language. Thus, this not only causes the inconvenience to the foreign tourism and to the regional tourism while communicating, but also hinders to know the motivation and behavioral patterns of the tourism. Moving on to problems of the local residents. Tourism is a multidimensional activity in relation to the local residents. The economic benefits derived out of the tourism are also quantified but lacks in understanding the local problems faced by the local residents. The tourism planner must keep in view the social impacts on the host community and to prepare master plan for minimizing such problems. In modern times, no tourism can grow without the active participation of the host community. Therefore, suggestions must be incorporated from the leaders of the community. Each tourist destination must encourage local monitoring agencies which can look in such matters and recommend valuable suggestions in this regard. Many arguments for tourism development are enumerated in the context of developments in the states of Rajasthan, Kerala, Uttaranchal, Jammu and Kashmir and northeast states, but some of these arguments do not hold in relation to the local residents. They feel and face many problems due to increasing tourist traffic. The issues of problems of local residents are related to each and every tourist destination spot. Following are some of the realistic problems faced by the host community. First one, carrying capacity. Carrying capacity is a notion which recognizes both the natural and human attraction have the upper limits in their capacities to absorb the visitors a capacity above which a deterioration of the resources itself take place. Unplanned and unregulated management of tourism programs leads to the structural or visible modifications of the natural and social environment that are often destructive and difficult for remedy. One main problem is that the benefits of tourism which are being measured in economic terms, but the ecological factors cannot be calculated in monetary terms and therefore are generally ignored. Each tourist destination is bound to accept pressure of defined number of tourists, and if this number exceeds, the social imbalance with regards to culture, ecology, environment and physical amenities will take place. Although the tourism carrying capacity of a specific destination can help to determine an optimum level of development, which must be accompanied by appropriate legislation and policies and must be regularly monitored and evaluated for its effectiveness. This is seldom done or generally ignored by the governments and by the tourism policy planners. Problems of rising prices. The second largest problem that the local residents feel and face is the problem of rising prices in all spheres of the economy. The prices go higher and higher during tourism season in respect of vegetables, milk products and other edible items. During this period, such essential commodities are supplied to the restaurants at a higher prices, land cost also goes high, rented portions goes high, transportation become very costly, daily consumable items are being sold at high price because of the high demand and labor becomes very costly. The electric power supply is reduced in the areas where the hotels are not situated. The common man suffers and only a small section is benefited. Thus, due to the influx of tourists in tourist season, price level goes up, which adversely affect the budget of host community. Social and cultural pollution. Social and cultural pollution is the biggest threat to the communities due to the tourism expansion. Western culture is adopted by the young generation and they generally imitate the culture of foreign tourists. The local people, especially young generation, brings change in their food habits, clothing and local language gets totally transformed, which becomes a sense of insecurity for parents towards their children. Sometimes host community gets involved with the tourists and gets married with the foreigners, which are generally not appreciated by the local residents. The introduction of Western dress, hairstyle, cosmetics, drinking, etc. always influences the local youth. The elder generation and religious minded persons do not approve such type of interaction. Alcoholism, drug abuse, dishonesty and beggary. Tourism also encourages alcoholism, drug abuse, dishonesty, prostitution and gambling. Nightclub culture and other such related activities create a very unpleasant atmosphere for the local residents, of which they are generally not used to. Older generation of the host community feel unsecured on account of these activities. Such problems need immediate attention. Apart from the above mentioned basic problems which the host community generally faces, there are many more problems which need the immediate attention of local administration and the concerned agencies. Tourist destinations generally remain occupied with our tourist traffic, which create air pollution, noise pollution and water pollution. Problems of disposal of solid waste from hotels, restaurants and resorts and dumping of such waste are also responsible for the various types of pollution and the spread of various diseases. An adverse impact of tourism is the fear of AIDS disease, the most dreaded disease in the world. The statistics shows that Western are more prone to disease due to their various unhealthy sexual habits. The general answer to this is to avoid any physical contact with tourists. Coming to problems of local administration. Local administration plays a vital link between tourists and the local residents, shopkeepers, transporters, hoteliers, restaurant owners and banking agencies, etc. Local administration is basically the umbrella of various agencies which tries to safeguard the interest of shopkeepers, hoteliers, local residents and others on the hand and tries to provide minimum inconvenience to the tourists. The state and central government both covers tourism. The state administration streamlines the tourism industry. It includes all such measures which are necessary to promote tourism. The local administration is directly involved with the tourism industry. It covers formulation and implementation aspects of tourism developmental programs. The creation and expansion of congenial type of accommodation, environmental protection, regulation of custom duty, training of tourism in the professional institutions, research and analysis and other allied problems must be seriously addressed. The role of civil police, traffic police, intelligence agencies, health department, post and telegraph departments, STD, ISD, PCO service providers, electricity departments are also important as to maintain law and order to provide basic necessary facilities to the tourists. Not only tourists are being benefited by the presence of such departments at the tourist destinations, but also local residents, shopkeepers and other private parties engaged in tourism activity are also seen benefited. Local administrations have their own problems while providing these services for the job assigned to them. The following are some of the issues highlighting the problems of local administration which needs immediate attention in this direction. First one, maintenance of monuments, public parks and lakes. At every district headquarters, municipal communities, municipal corporation, Department of Art and Culture and some NGOs are responsible for the maintenance and upgrading the existing facilities of monuments, parks, palaces, lakes and ports. The main problem in this regard is that of finance. It has been generally observed that such agencies always feel helpless in providing the adequate basic superstructure at these important tourist places because of limited budgetary allocation. In the recent times, government has tried to increase its budgetary allocation by way of charging entrance fees directly from the tourists. Results from this is that some innovative schemes have come up with tremendous positive results. The level of services that has been provided at such sites has definitely increased. This not only added to the glory of the sites but also motivated tourists in this direction. Problems of centralization. Tourism activities are basically local in nature. In order to maintain its rural touch, policies, programs and procedures for the development of tourism need preparation of plans at the local level where local artisans, community leaders, tourism experts, academicians, researchers can plan, but unfortunately such plans come from the secretariat level for the implementation purpose. The Directorate of Tourism enjoys the maximum control, and thus it seems that the subordinate officers function in accordance with the directives and policies. It creates some problems for the tourism development in itself, as at every step the sanction is required to make any addition or alteration. Hence, the system lacks flexibility of approach. So, some mechanism should be adopted in order to decentralize these procedures and make tourism plan more effective. Directorate versus corporation. Director of tourism in the states are generally headed by IAS officers. These officials implement the government policies with certain limitations. Similarly, the chairman of tourism development corporations in the states takes care of providing infrastructure facilities at the tourist spots. Generally, it has been observed that there is no coordination between the Directorate of Tourism and Office of the Chairman. Tourism development corporations thus are delaying the important issues regarding the development of tourism in the states. Problem of ecology and environmental impact. Ecology includes man and all living things and their interrelations with each other and with the environment. The task before the administration is to protect the environment from pollution and to keep the ecosystem in balance. Increasing deforestation, unplanned infrastructural development and construction and other pollution problems have caused severe environmental disturbance in the natural phenomena. When interrelation between plants, animals and human species and their environment gets disturbed, it creates serious consequences for the tourism development. Also, India will have to gear himself not only for conceptual clarification with respect to ecology, environment, wildlife, natural inhabitants and ecotourism, but has the greater responsibility to lead the third world in the right direction on ecology and environmental issues. Coming to Indian Tourism Development Corporation. In case of public sector, the Indian Tourism Development Corporation has an annual capacity of training 55 management trainees. During the year up to January 2013, 88 programs for non-executives and 50 programs for executives have been conducted, providing training inputs to 1,459 non-executives and 1,112 executives. In addition, 112 personnel have been deputed to specialized need-based management workshops conducted by the professionals in the field. Indian Institute of Tourism and Travel Management. In a short span of just over 3 years, the Indian Institute of Tourism and Travel Management has completed 14 management development programs at New Delhi, in which 460 participants have been successfully trained. Simultaneously, the institute has launched a wide range of academic programs and courses at various levels directly and collaboratively with universities. These include foreign language training programs, tourism orientation courses, professional ticketing courses, tourism awareness programs and the Master of Tourism Administration, post-graduation diploma in destination management for tourist guides and postgraduate diploma in tourism management in sponsored universities. Indian Institute of Skiing and Mountaineering, Gulmarg and Institute of Water Sports. With the diversification of tourist traffic, specialized training is needed for certain types of activities such as development of beach resorts, winter sports, mountaineering, trekking, wildlife tourism, etc. At present, the Institute for Skiing and Mountaineering at Gulmarg has been established. There is need to work out modalities of the programs as well as identify skill requirements and develop training facilities for the same. World Tourism Organization. The world tourism industry provides direct employment to 37 million persons and generate indirect employment to 54 million persons according to the estimates published by the World Tourism Organization. The World Tourism Organization considers that the success of the tourism industry primarily depends on whether or not a country can update the level of training for those already engaged in the tourism related industries, while at the same time design new training approaches for those entering the industry. Education and training will therefore play a crucial role in developing professionalism in tourism, which is essentially a people-to-people business. In 4 decades of independence, no University of India considered it with worthwhile to develop a postgraduate degree program in tourism. The National Committee on Tourism. The National Committee on Tourism, appointed by the Government of India in 1987, has identified several weaknesses. Firstly, the combined outrun of trained personnel from the ongoing training programs in the accommodation and hospitality sector is just a small percentage of the huge requirement of the industry. Secondly, in the travel and tourism trade, there is absence of proper training facilities, whereas the requirements of trained personnel in these areas have been estimated to be of the order of 20,000 persons per year. Thirdly, training facilities at the degree and postgraduate levels, even in the accommodation sector, are negligible. Fourthly, the training facilities provided through Statutory Apprenticeship Act are not adequate. And finally, the quality of training facilities provided through present arrangement is not up to the mark. It also pointed out the present system of tourism training programs suffer from several weaknesses, both in its qualitative and quantitative dimensions. These are the combined outrun of 8,500 trained personnel from the ongoing programs in the accommodation and hospitality sector falls short of requirements of about 28,000 trained manpower each year. In the absence of any training facilities worth the name in the travel and tourism trade, the outrun of the trained personnel is meagre. The requirements of personnel in this area have been placed at 20,000 to 26,000 per year. Institutes of hotel management and foodcraft institutes generally provide training at the craft and diploma level training facilities at the degree and postgraduate levels, which constitutes junior and senior management levels in the hotel industry, are negligible. The training arranged through Statutory Apprenticeship Act are nowhere near the requirements. The quality of training facilities is not up to the standard required for an internationally competitive industry. Students, hope you got some information regarding the topic. We will meet in the future episode. Till then, take care. Thank you.